Stand by for action.
All right. We may not have no top to blow, but we're going to blow what we got, baby. My name is Dave Milner. I am the Unpleasant Blind Guy, and this week I'm going to talk about conservatism, and how a lot of us are breaking out and how awesome that is. All right. I'm really very proud of ordinary conservatives out there, how we have not been buying into the messages from the big bugs. I'm talking about talk show hosts. I'm talking about favored guests. I'm talking about people who conservatives normally have a lot of respect for. These people have kind of gone off the rails on a few issues, and a lot of good conservatives have been saying, no, we're not going to follow along with what you have to say. We're independent thinkers. We're going to think independently. Not thinking independently is one of the things that has gotten us to this pass in this country in the first place, and we're going to do it ourselves, and we're going to have our own opinion. Now, first thing that there are actually two little issues. First thing is the Marco Rubio deal. Now, I got to say, even though she thinks I'm a troll because I told the boner pill joke in her chat room one time and she had to stop her entire show and tell me how that was not appropriate, blah, 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 blah. Tammy Bruce has always been someone who has warned people about Marco Rubio. And even when she was doing it, I kind of felt what she was saying might be true. He was being front-loaded too much by the establishment Republicans. It was almost as if he is the Republican Barack Obama. Now, that doesn't mean that Rubio is unaccomplished, all right? What that means, though, is that he's the quote-unquote ethnic choice for people who want to vote Republican. That's how he's been presented. And Tammy Bruce said up front, and I agreed, that we should be, wary of Senator Rubio. As we should be, in my opinion, wary of everyone who is presented as the great savior of the conservative movement or anything of that nature. I think we have to be skeptical of everyone now because the poisonous atmosphere of Washington, D.C. takes good people, even if they start out good, and tends to corrupt them. That's why I'm a big believer in term limits. But Tammy Bruce does get some credit for being one of the first of what I consider to be the big bugs, to come out and say, well, let's not be so quick to place all of our trust in Rubio. And with his support of this amnesty bill, this current amnesty bill, I think she's been proven right. I've been proven right. Everyone's been proven right who has said, no, this guy says a lot of good things, and he sounds good. He seems good. But let's not place 100% of our truth in him. There's a little bit of a sort of a wiggly-woggly, kind of scary feeling that this guy may be being presented as a limited kind of a choice for us. Flash forward to the end of last week, where I had a little bit of a scrape with a rather famous talk show host over this issue, who contended that perhaps other people who had not done all of the many, many great things that she has done should zip their lip, especially on this issue. My only response to that, I'm not going to get too far into the scrape itself, but my only response to that is that I will not doff my cap to anyone. I will not bend my knee to anyone except my God, and I will kiss no one's ass. My opinion is mine, and I'm going to speak it loud, and I'm going to speak it proud, baby. But this issue all came about because thinking conservatives who were thinking freely for themselves were disagreeing with this individual over Rubio and saying, okay, we don't trust this guy now. And what about him was being defended was that he is a Republican, and we should not criticize Republicans in the Senate because there are not enough Republicans in the Senate. Well, let's have a look at that. How much good have establishment Republicans in the House done us? Now, I'm talking about the leadership. I'm not talking about some of the Tea Party movement Republicans that are actually standing against the House leadership at the moment on things like the amnesty bill. There are currently, unless my timing is off, there are currently 70 Republicans that are standing up to John Boehner and telling him, no, we are not going to vote for any bill, any amnesty bill whatsoever, to pass out of this House, because we know that once the Senate gets it, they'll take out all the good stuff that we want, put in all the bad stuff we don't want. This will all happen in conference. Then there'll be a settled bill. Then Obama will sign it. Then there will be amnesty. This moves into a theme that I was talking about last week. We have to decide who has principles, and that can't be decided by party. If the Republican Party, quote-unquote, wins, and we wind up looking, or it winds up looking like the Democratic Party of 1992, then guess what? We win nothing. The people of the United States of America win nothing. You wind up with a situation that a lot of people expressed in the 2012 election, which was, well, there's not really much difference between the Democrats and the Republicans anyway. And when it comes to the leadership of the establishment Republican Party, I have to agree now. That being the case, we as conservatives have to engage in these brush fire conflicts on these issues just to show the establishment Republicans that we are not leftists. We are not going to robotically follow them just because they have an R after their name, especially if the things they want are not in the interest of the people of the United States of America. Now, this is going to lose us a few friends, both individually and as groups. And we have to be prepared for those losses. We have to be prepared to be told that we have bad attitudes. We have to be prepared to be told that we're jerks. We have to be prepared to be told that we're trolls. We have to be prepared for all of this, even from people on the right that we happen to respect. But here's the thing, guys. Conservatism is about principles. It's not about a means to an end. All right? Conservatism is about the things, the beliefs that we hold dear, and we have to defend those. And it's not easy to defend those against people who we have respect for, or against people who traditionally have helped us defend them on a large scale. But we still have to do it, guys. And there are a lot of people out there doing it on this amnesty issue. And I want to say that I am really, really proud of everyone that is standing up and making this defense for the people of the United States of America, for the integrity of citizenship in the greatest country that has ever come about in the known history of mankind. Everyone out there that is in this fight and telling the big bugs, no, this is not what we want, is to be commended as true patriots. Now let's move on to the other issue, which is the whole NSA, PRISM, Snowden thing. Now, just to give my personal perspective, I don't think it was the smartest thing in the world for Snowden to do, to go to China. Putting himself in the hands of the communist Chinese, it was never a smart thing to do. On the other hand, if he hadn't felt safe in telling everyone about PRISM, we wouldn't have known about it. Now, my view on all of that is, yes, it started under President Bush, but everyone believed that it was only going to be used against terrorists. And Snowden, in my opinion, did us a service by letting us know that, no, we're all being watched, and that data is being kept. Now, it's been said by people like, for instance, Mike Baker, who was on Red Eye, that, well, you know, Snowden should have just gone to a press conference. Well, let's be real here about that. Snowden would have never made it to a press conference if he was going to tell people about PRISM. That just wouldn't have happened. He got himself into a place where he feels safe. Why he feels safe in China, I don't know. And that's where he spilled his guts. And let's talk for a second about what he spilled his guts on. And let's be a little bit real here. What did Snowden say? Snowden said that not only does the United States government spy on our own citizens, but that it spies on the Chinese. Ooh, that's not news, guys. I'm sorry, but it's not news. Okay, here's a little hit of reality for you. Okay, the United States government spies on everyone, and everyone spies on us, and everyone spies on each other. Our friends spy on us. Our enemies spy on us. We spy on our enemies. We spy on our friends. Our friends and enemies spy on everyone else. It's what goes on in the world. It's what has always gone on. There are cases where it's a bad thing. For instance, when the Soviet Union got hold of the secrets of the atomic bomb from the Rosenbergs, that was a bad thing. But, believe it or not, I'm going to give you something from a different angle. And hopefully that's why you listen to this show. In a way, it's actually a good thing. It's a way that everyone keeps everyone else honest. Because everyone in these governments knows that they're being spied on, that they can only go so far with some things before they're inevitably going to leak out to the world. I think this kind of thing has stopped more wars than it started. And certainly, it's not news. So for all the people, especially, once again, someone that as a conservative I greatly respect, Dick Cheney, Mike Baker, a lot of these other people that are out there screaming that Snowden is a traitor, gotta say that I disagree, because what he said isn't news. What he says is just standard practice, and it's been done between governments as long as there have been governments. Now, there are some people out there who say that governments should deal with each other openly and honestly. And in a perfect world, I would agree. But you may want to take a look around. This ain't a perfect world. There are bad people out there who will always want to use their power to do harm to others and gather for themselves all kinds of wealth and even more power. That's the way of human nature, and that can't be legislated out. Our world is as it is, and we have to deal with it on that basis. Snowden, in my opinion, did not say anything newsworthy except that the United States government was actually not using its powers only to spy on terrorists, but that it was spying on actual American citizens who had done nothing wrong. And there are a lot of conservatives out there now who are just not buying into the whole Snowden is a traitor business. And this is something I find fascinating because Fox News, who the left thinks that conservatives just listen to slavishly and just buys everything from, Fox News has really come out in favor of this whole Snowden is a traitor thing. And I'm seeing people on social media not buying it. Good conservatives not buying into it. And again, that makes me feel really great because as conservatives, we think for ourselves, and this is further proof of that. I would almost want to say that the conservatives that are thinking for themselves on these two issues are my awesome Americans for this week, but I'm not going to do that. I think that's kind of cheesy. I mean, who knows? I might do that some week, but because sometimes these stories can be difficult to find on an individual basis, even though there are awesome Americans that do awesome things all the time. But no, I'm not going to do that. I've got another awesome American. I'm going to talk about them later. I just wanted to kind of make this show thematic in that there really is good news, and that is that it's always been known, but it's confirmed that there is still a group of American citizens out there who are not willing to be led by the nose, even by people they happen to respect. They think for themselves, and they're going to make sure everybody knows when they're displeased about something. I think that's a fantastic thing. And I'd like to get into one other little thing before I get into my awesome American. Now, there are some new people who haven't listened to this show who didn't start with listening to my first show. And I need to kind of just say a few things really quickly. Just in case this comes up, I'm not a role model. I'm not someone you necessarily want your kids to wind up being, because I'm not what a lot of people consider to be a success. This year, however, will be my 45th year of observing American politics, observing trends in American society, and remembering those observations and being able to analyze them well. I've got that amount of time under my belt that I've been doing this stuff. Yeah, I was a little bit of a political nerd, as a kid, even though I didn't know I was one. First big political event I can remember very clearly was that abortion of a Democratic National Convention in Chicago in 1968. I remember that one well. So whatever value you guys get from this show, it is not in me personally. The only thing I do is take that experience that I've got and try and translate it into something for ordinary people like myself. I'm not rich. I will probably never be rich. I'm not an author, although I've written a few things. I'm an ordinary dude, and I'm proud of that. Almost as proud as I am of being a citizen of the United States of America. This is a show for people on the ground, not up in the clouds. There are plenty of shows for people like that, and plenty of great talk show hosts that are an inspiration to everyone. The value you get out of this show is it's from an ordinary dude to ordinary people with plenty of respect for their ordinariness. And there you go. Now, I want to talk about my awesome American for this week. And in a way, there's a little bit of an issue there, because my awesome American this week is kind of two awesome Americans. Okay, this is a story that I got from Kevin Hanrahan. All right, and with the headline, "Wounded Dog Handler Heading Home with Best Friend." All right, Now, this was posted on the 4th by Mr. Hanrahan, and it's a story of or a story by Corporal Joshua Young, and it comes out of Camp Pendleton, California. All right, now, what it does, it talks about a Marine who was injured in Afghanistan, and in a way, it almost reads like a movie. He was injured in Afghanistan, and the end of the story is that he is coming back home with his working dog named Johnny. All right. What's cool about this story is at first Riddle didn't even really like the dog. He was kind of shaggy, and the others called it a junkyard dog and all that sort of thing. And they had to develop a relationship, and they did. And they went out to Afghanistan, got deployed, and Riddle was injured. And now they're going to be together again back home. Very cool story. I'm going to put it up on my Twitter feed, UBG Contact. That's where I'd like for people to contact me if they want to talk or comment or what the heck ever. But yeah, if you want to see that story, go up on there. I'm going to put that up. And I want to thank everyone who has listened to this show. Last week's show was really long. It should have actually been 2 shows. But, hey, when I get a roll on about stuff, I tend to say what I want to say for as long as I need to say it. This is a little bit of a shorter show, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. I hope everyone has a great week. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Thank you, and may your God go with you. Bye-bye.